What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Doghouse. I apologize we didn't have a video put up last week. The YouTube gods are not smiling upon me lately. We had a little technical error on our part. The power supply for my laptop decided to burn out on me. No power supply, no battery, no battery, no laptop, no video. Again, I'm sorry. This week we are going to be taking a look at the Browns offense from top to bottom. We're going to break everything down. It's going to be part of a little bit of a three-part series here. This week we'll look at offense. Next week we'll look at the defense. And the following week we'll look at a little bit deeper into special teams. So to get things off, we're going to first look at the wide receivers. Now, before any cuts are made, we're going to go into camp with 12 receivers this year. We have 4 returning from last year in Josh Gordon, Corey Coleman, Ricardo Lewis, and Rashard Higgins. We did have the 2 free agency pickups that we acquired, Mr. Jarvis Landry and Jeff Janis, and then we have a handful of receivers that we got through the draft and unrestricted free agency after the draft, which include Antonio Callaway, Damian Ratley, Evan Berry, CJ Board, Scott Damari, and Derek Willis. Josh Gordon made the news a couple weeks ago, boldly predicting that the Browns have the best receiving group in the NFL. He might not be wrong. We have a pretty good group. Josh Gordon penciled in as the number 1 receiver. Jarvis Landry, I'm assuming, is going to end up going back to slot. Right now, the number 2 slot is the only one with a real question mark there. It is Corey Coleman's job to lose at this point. He has had some consistency issues in the past, as well as battled some injuries. There are rumors floating around right now that Coleman potentially could be traded away. I don't usually buy into those. I mean, it's all hearsay. I don't bite on anything until it's actually said and done. So we might see him traded away. Don't quote me. I'm not saying he is going to be, but there's potential there. With his production numbers, I can see why there would be reason for people to speculate as to potential trade, but we'll see what happens. If Coleman does lose the spot, there's potentially Antonio Callaway right behind him, who's so far been proving himself pretty well in camp. However, he has been battling some hamstring issues here and there. Nothing serious. They've been holding them out just as a precautionary measure to make sure he's healthy when he gets to training camp. I do expect this group to be dwindled down quite a bit. It would be unheard of to actually head into a season with 12 wide receivers. A lot of these guys are probably brought in just for training camp, for bodies to throw to for the quarterbacks and whatnot. But we'll see how it all shakes out by the time the season gets here. Next up, we're going to be looking at the tight end group. We do have 5 tight ends at the moment. We have David Njoku and Seth DeValve returning from last season. We also have Devin Cajuste and Darren Fells that we picked up in free agency. And finally, Julian Allen, who was drafted this year. David Njoku is going to be another big potential threat on the passing game. We saw what he could do last year when he got his hands on the balls. Big body out in the field with great hands. I think he's going to be contributing a lot to the passing game this year. We're going to be relying on him pretty heavily. Seth DeValve was able to stay healthy all season last year, so we saw quite a bit of him in the games. He did contribute here and there, and I expect to see that he's going to continue developing and keep doing what he's doing and keep getting better every game. Last up, we have Darren Fells is another face we're probably going to continue to see with the team. I think Darren's going to add some depth to the tight end group should anybody get hurt, be a backup, and he is the old man of the bunch at 31 years old. Oh, God, I've reached that point in my life. The old man of the bunch on the NFL team is younger than me. Yuck, disgusting. Next up, we're going to talk about the running backs. We do have 5 guys in this group, which include Duke Johnson and Matthew Days returning from last year's roster. We have Carlos Hyde, and we also drafted Nick Chubb and Dontrell Hilliard. This is going to be one of the more intriguing groups to watch throughout training camp and the preseason. We have Duke Johnson, our Swiss Army man in the backfield. He can run, he can catch, he's shifty, he's quick. Just got that new contract a few weeks ago. Then we have Carlos Hyde, who has a completely different running style. More your power back, one cut, get in his way, he's going to run you over, and you're going to remember not to stand in his way again. Then we have Nick Chubb, who's kind of a cross between Duke and Carlos. He's a big power runner. He will run you over, but he can make his way in and out of cuts a lot sharper and cleaner than Carlos can. He's shiftier, and he can also catch the ball out of the backfield quite well. All right, next up, we're going to talk about the offensive line. This has been a group that's really kind of been up and down the past few seasons, ever since Alex Mack and Mitchell Schwartz ended up leaving in free agency. kind of been trying to mix, match, and plug some holes. We got a few holes filled and solidified for sure, but we currently have 17 offensive linemen on the roster. Again, this will be cut back drastically by the time the season starts, but we have, returning from last year, Joel Bitonio, J.C. Treader, Kevin Zeitler, Sean Coleman, Spencer Durango, and Austin Ryder. Then we went out in free agency and we picked up a handful there. Chris Hubbard, Donald Stevenson, Anthony Fabiano, Avery Genesee, Jeff Gray, Greg Robinson, and Victor Sulaco. And then in the draft and unrestricted free agents that we brought in for camp are Austin Corbett. We picked him up in the second round. Christian Delario, Desmond Harrison, and Fred Luina. I'm terrible with last names. If I butchered anybody's last name there, I'm sorry. I did have your best interest at heart. Let me go, okay? Okay. So, but yeah, this is going to be a really interesting position to watch. Anywhere on the offensive line. Joel Bitonio's not going anywhere at left guard. J.C. Treader's locked in at center. Kevin Zeitler, right guard. The two interesting spots are the two tackle positions this year. We brought in Chris Hubbard, and everybody thought that he was going to be that right tackle spot right out of the gate. And then we went crazy, and we started going offensive line crazy. The idea was Chris Hubbard comes in to play right tackle. Sean Coleman comes over to play left tackle, and that's that. That's what I thought anyway. Oh boy, was I wrong. This is going to be crazy. There are so many guys that they're going to bring in for the rotation for that left tackle spot and try to fill the shoes of Joe Thomas, that it's going to be a constant rotation of these guys. You've got Spencer Durango, Austin Ryder, potentially, Austin Corbett, Sean Coleman, and I'm presuming Greg Robinson, all vying for that left tackle position. It's going to be crazy. That's a lot of people fighting for one job plus a backup spot. Like I said, this will be a very interesting group to watch. The front office just keeps adding to this group, and every chance they find an offensive lineman that might be able to play left tackle, they really are going out there and snatching them up to see if they can find that Joe Thomas replacement. We have had continuous movement on the line ever since the departure of Alex Mack and Mitchell Schwartz. We've locked down a number of those positions, but these two tackle, the two bookends on this line is going to be what's really going to be interesting to see unfold this year. All right, that leaves us with the quarterback, the most important man on the field, right? We have 4 on the roster currently. I expect that to dwindle down to 3, maybe 2. I don't see us going lower than 3, though. All 4 of the quarterbacks that we have on our roster are new faces in Berea this year. We have Tyrod Taylor, picked up in free agency, Baker Mayfield through the draft. We have Drew Stanton, who came in through free agency, as well as Brogan Roback, is, I believe, an undrafted free agent. Currently, the depth chart stands with Tyrod Taylor at 1, Baker Mayfield at 2, and Drew Stanton at 3. Please, if anybody watches this video in Berea, get this video to Hugh, sit him down and make him watch it. Hugh, please keep Tyrod as your starter, no matter what. I don't care if Baker Mayfield looks like Peyton Manning in the height of his career. This is what bites us every year. Stick with your guns, hold fast, keep Tyrod as a starter, let Baker sit. That being said, we brought Drew Stanton in, and he came in knowing that basically he was going to be mentoring a young quarterback in Baker Mayfield, and he's cool with it. He says if that's the role he's asked to fill, that's what he's going to do. This is basically Josh McCown 2.0. He's been around the league for a long time. He's seen a lot of stuff. He is going to be a great guy to have on sitting on the sideline with Baker Mayfield, because that's where Baker Mayfield needs to be, on the sideline. Right? But those are the 4 guys there in the quarterback room. I don't expect too much to shake up. I do expect Tyrod to start for the season. Baker in 2, Stanton in 3, holding the clipboard, helping out our boy Baker in any way he can. All right, now to answer the big question. What is our offense going to look like on game day? We got a new coordinator in Todd Haley in the offseason. Everybody wants to know, how are we going to look? Well, truth is, nobody knows except for anybody who's in Berea right now, but we can make some estimated guesses as to what to expect. The Browns have dedicated themselves heavily to improving the run game this year. Big, powerful backs, versatile backs, people who are going to get the job done on the ground. You never want to throw the ball in the air. It's risky. You can get interceptions, the completion percentage drops off in inclement weather here in Cleveland. You want to be able to run the ball, and that's what they've dedicated themselves to doing. Carlos Hyde, Nick Chubb are going to get a majority of these carries, and they're going to pound the ball down everybody else's throats. Another thing to keep an eye on for the offense is we have a lot of talented wide receivers, which is something that we are not used to here in Cleveland. We have not had a really talented group of receivers in a very long time. So that opens a lot of things up, both in the passing game and the running game. One of the biggest factors of how we're going to look on Sundays is who gets the keys to the car in the end at the quarterback position. Tyrod Taylor, more known for short and intermediate throws. Not saying he can't make the long throws. He absolutely can, but is more comfortable in the short and intermediate ranges. Baker, not afraid to air it out. He'll go long all the way down the field and go for the big play whenever they give him the chance to do it. So that would affect things in a big way. Todd Haley is not going to force his offense on players who aren't going to play well in it. He's going to tailor the offense to his players. So forget everything you know about Pittsburgh. We don't have Roethlisberger. We don't have Bell. We don't have Brown. Forget about it. Don't even go back and look at the Pittsburgh tape. He's not running things like that here. He will tailor this offense to the talent he has on this team. So realistically, we don't know how things are going to look. It'll be interesting to see what actually happens with the offense. It will be a new look. It will be fresh. With two mobile quarterbacks, the defense has to keep an extra man somewhere in the box to keep an eye on him and keep him contained. Dual threat running backs, got to keep them contained, which opens up a lot of things in the passing game. We are actually in an outstanding position on the offense this year. It will be exciting to watch. So to sum things up, on paper right now, we have a great offense. It'll all be interesting to see how it really translates to on the field. But on paper, we're number one stunner right now. We're looking good. The front office has really done an amazing job in the offseason putting together the best possible offense that you could in such a short period of time. For the first time in a long time, we have good NFL-proven quarterbacks who can play the game. We have good NFL-proven wide receivers and a really talented group of wide receivers behind them. We have good NFL-proven running backs and a shining star in Nick Chubb that's ready to come out and back them up as well. They have a lot of options of what they can do on the offensive line, a lot of guys to shift and move around if they have to, and put together the best offensive line possible. So all in all, it's an exciting time to be a Browns fan. I'm not saying we're going to make the Super Bowl this year by any means, but I think our days of drafting incredibly high on night one of the draft are officially over for a while. That's right. We're going to win games this season. I'm not talking one game. I'm not talking two games. We are going to win some games this season. You might need two hands to count them all. Don't know, but it's going to be fun to watch, and nonetheless. The Cleveland Browns training camp opening day has officially been announced. It will be July 25th. Don't forget to go get your tickets, and the tickets are free. You just have to go register on the Browns website or the mobile app. We'll be out there. We'll be getting footage for the channel. And while we're not busy trying to get footage for our channels, we'll be dancing around in front of the cameras for Hard Knocks. Who doesn't want to be on Hard Knocks? It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time this year at training camp. They always do things really nice for everybody. And can't wait to get there and get some more footage for the channel and actually start breaking some stuff down and seeing where some of these position battles end up. That's all for this week. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe below. And we'll see you next week in the doghouse.